What is going on, crypto fiends? Thank you as always for tuning into the channel. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone watching. I wanted to bring this video to you guys real quick to share with you two little pieces of very relevant news, especially if you're involved in the crypto world. You should know about this stuff. And then I also want to share with you guys my current viewpoint going into 2023 in regards to the cryptocurrency space, what I can expect when it comes to price movement on all that sort of jazz. So I hope you guys had a good holiday. I'm kind of glad it's almost over. Holidays can be kind of hectic, but I am excited to move into the new year and keep moving forward and pumping out videos to you guys. So what is the first piece of news I am talking about? Well, we haven't talked about it for a little bit on the channel, probably about a week or two. But the whole FTX debacle, if you guys aren't aware, over the course of the past week and a half or so, SBF, the CEO himself, was arrested in the Bahamas, and he was held in a Bahamian jail for a couple days. Then he was extradited to the United States by the FBI, and since then, he received bail. This scumbag, this guy that stole $10 billion from investors, was given bail, and he met the bail. Get this. His bail was $250 million, which is a crazy amount of money. I don't know what the highest bail ever is, but that is very, very high for an individual. I guess it's not very often you have ex-billionaires getting thrown in jail. But what's crazy about this story is we actually found out that SBF received a personal reconnaissance bail bond, which essentially means that he is not required to put up any amount of money initially to walk out of jail. That is absolutely insane. And the reason I wanted to bring this up to you guys is it's quite often you hear in the world that, you know, politicians and friends of politicians, you know, they get benefits, you know, they get luxury and they take advantage of our system. And this is a perfect example showing how SBF, a man that stole $10 billion from average retail investors, got to walk essentially scot-free onto the streets by a judge in the United States. We already know that SBF is deeply tied with a handful of politicians. He supposedly He was the second largest donor to the Democratic Party, and supposedly he donated the same amount to Republicans, but it was considered hush money. But aside from that, it is clear as night and day that this guy is getting handed the easy way out, and it's such a shame that this is the case. Right now, he is on bail, so there could be charges being pressed against him in the future. But the way this is already being handled, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks with a slap on the wrist, or if they give him the opportunity to maybe make investors whole or some bullshit. Either way, it's absolutely disgusting, and I think the majority, if not all of the cryptocurrency space agrees that SBF is being dealt with like a politician, period. I guess that's what happens when you got a lot of money and you put it in the right places, but it is absolutely disgusting. So that was my first thing I wanted to mention. And then the second thing is actually a pretty big deal. So if you guys aren't aware, over the past year or so, Russia was hinting at utilizing cryptocurrencies for payments. As we know, with the Russia and Ukraine war going on, Russia was pretty much stripped of all payment systems in the world. The SWIFT system, they were sanctioned in dozens and dozens of countries, and they had their assets frozen all over the place in countries around the world. So Russia actually has been looking to cryptocurrency in order to make transactions. Now, I'm not necessarily saying this is good or bad for the industry, considering Russia is frowned upon around the world. What I think they're doing in Ukraine is also absolutely a travesty. We are going to be looking at this at a broader perspective from a cryptocurrency perspective. So Russia announced, the head of State Duma Finance Committee reportedly said they will legalize the use of cryptocurrency for international trade in January of 2023. So in the next couple of weeks, you can expect Russia to start utilizing cryptocurrencies to do international trade. Obviously, with cryptocurrencies being the way they are, I'm assuming they're talking most likely maybe about Bitcoin, maybe privacy coins, who knows. They don't have to have any restrictions when it comes to sanctions or their assets getting frozen. They just make the trades from one person to the other, and there is also a level of anonymity behind it as well, compared to like say the SWIFT system. So that's that. Now, what sounds great is that awesome, Russia is making cryptocurrencies used throughout the country. That's amazing. Well, of course not. The politicians get to play ball while all the other little people, the average Joes like you and I, or well, more specifically, average Joes in Russia, don't get to play ball, because the chairman highlighted that although Russia is taking steps to allow Bitcoin and crypto payments for imports, there are no plans to encourage similar usage of the assets within the boundaries of the nation's territory. So they're pretty much saying, you guys cannot play ball, you guys cannot utilize the power of crypto, but we can. They're obviously doing that to make sure that citizens have no choice but to hold their money, their savings in Russia's fiat currency to prevent it from collapsing. Because honestly, if I was in Russia and I was given the opportunity to utilize crypto, I would do it in a heartbeat, especially in their scenario. So yeah, I just think that's pretty crazy that left and right we're seeing, you know, politicians and countries overall blatantly you know, putting the retail investor last. And it's quite a shame, because you know, you always hear the SEC and the IRS and obviously the White House saying that they need to pass regulation to protect investors. That is absolute bullshit, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, we need regulation so something like FTX doesn't happen again, but we do not need regulation to the extent where it completely strangles innovation in the space, and it makes it so that nobody wants to get involved, and it puts crypto back years and years from where it could be in the near future. So we definitely need regulation, but it needs to be a sort of regulation that's not a blanket regulation that just strangles everyone because one dumbass wanted to steal everyone's money. So lastly, I want to share with you guys my current viewpoint on what we could be looking for in 2023. Now, I know you're hoping for me to say that I think we're all going to go to the moon and everything's going to be great, but I want to be realistic with you guys. You know, the past year has obviously been the worst year for cryptocurrencies to date. And 2023, as of now, although it's not going, in my opinion, going to be as worse, it's probably not going to be significantly better. I think if you guys were here back in 2018 and 2019, that was the previous crypto winter, we called it, the previous bear market. And essentially that was a 2-year period of sideways stagnant movement, where there wasn't really much going on when it comes to the price action, but of course these companies that were involved in the space and had the capital to maintain their businesses flourished with development, and they brought a lot of amazing products to the industry that we all got to appreciate in 2020 all the way till now. So I personally think that the next year is going to be relatively boring for the cryptocurrency space. And I wish that wasn't the case, but I, again, just want to be realistic with you guys. Don't get me wrong, I do think that we are, if not already, very close to a bottom with Bitcoin and the majority of cryptos. That is if we can avoid any sort of world conflict. I really think that's the deciding factor. Now, obviously, you have to realize with the world the way it is, with, you know, stocks, commodities, real estate, all in the shitter, the last thing people are going to want to do is risk their money in a speculative asset like crypto. So as long as we're realistic with ourselves and we understand that, you know, crypto is just not going to explode overnight, we will sleep better at night. And in my opinion, you know, the next year or so could be the greatest opportunity of our lives, period. And again, I don't want to be the type of person to just be a hype man, but aside from everything moving pretty stagnant over the next year or so, I really do think we are going to come back stronger than ever. And whoever is accumulating around these levels and stacking their sats, stacking their favorite cryptos at these crazy 70 to 90% drops, you guys are going to get filthy rich. It's really that simple. You guys are going to get filthy freaking rich. And you guys got to remember too that you might not think so, or maybe a lot of people don't think so. All these whales, all these corporations, all these big dogs, they are accumulating the frick out of crypto right now. Obviously, specifically Bitcoin. But there's no questioning that the majority of big dogs out there are buying as much crypto as they can. MicroStrategy just bought a couple more $1 million worth today. Keep in mind, it's only a couple more million, but over time that accumulates. And then next thing you know, when we're at all-time highs next time around, you're going to have companies that are absolute monopolies because they have so much capital in these cryptocurrencies. So I do not want you guys to be discouraged. You know, times like these are the worst. They really are. You know, we've all lost a unimaginable amount of money over the past year. But if you look at the long-term perspective, like we've been doing since I started this channel back in 2017, we can really still make it, guys. So if you're watching this and you've lost it all, just know that if you buckle down, keep your head down, work your ass off right now, and continue to accumulate as quickly as possible, you will likely be filthy rich in 2 years' time. That is not a guarantee, of course, but it is, in my opinion, very likely. And it is just my opinion, so who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. But yeah, that's it, guys. I would love to know your thoughts down below on my take, what I personally think the next year is going to be like. I think it's going to be relatively stagnant. And we're going to be moving sideways most of the time, but overall it's going to be a huge opportunity for the majority of us to really capitalize on this opportunity. So yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next.